said, how the class works, and the reason I keep saying yellow highlighter, you guys can think I'm a pain in the butt, but I passed tests with an 87 or higher with barely studying. And that's because my dad was a genius. He was a chemical engineer. And he taught me when I was really young, I didn't pass tests so well. He thought I was stupid. And I'm like, well, then he thought to himself, she can't be stupid. She's from my genes, right? So he taught me as a chemical engineer that bright yellow color that you're supposed to be using when you highlight, not the dull yellow, not green, not any other color, that bright yellow color, it almost attracts to your brain to help you remember it. That's why I'm so adamant about bright yellow. And I used to always carry bright yellow highlighters, but unfortunately, it's like I was keeping the bright yellow highlighter company in business, okay? You guys can get bright yellow highlighters at the dollar store, at the 99-cent store, wherever. You can get 3 in a pack. You're gonna need it, so buy 2 packs, okay? When you highlight in yellow, I don't want you just to look at your book and highlight the whole line, because you're not paying attention to what you're highlighting. You're really not. And I want you to highlight only the words I tell you to highlight. And in most cases, when you highlight the words I tell you to highlight and you're skipping every other word because they put so much filler words in the book that you'll actually read a whole sentence by reading most of the time the highlights I give you. Now, one of the girls in my class, what she did, which was really cool, is she's like, you know what's even more cool about the yellow highlights? And I go, what? She goes, I can dim the lights in my room and put a purple light on, a fluorescent light, and the words stick out at you. I'm like, that's really cool. So if you're planning on taking your test on Monday because you're like, oh, I did a cram course, I'm gonna take it on Monday because I retained everything, maybe not. It's up to you guys. Have you been in the business before? How good are you at doing, figuring out, this is a common sense exam. And I can tell you that common sense isn't so common. And I hate to say that, but it was a French guy in front of my class. He goes, you know what the French say? And I'm like, what? He's like, common sense isn't that common. Because sometimes people really don't think or they don't read the whole thing. And so he was somebody, there was one guy in my class that it wasn't him, it wasn't the guy that said that, but it was this other guy that was really common sense. But he didn't seem very bright, and he didn't seem like he really understood all this mortgage stuff. And what was really crazy is he passed with a 96. And he's like, he came out of the test and he's like, Sharon, it was like 90% common sense. So there's lots of stuff. Taking tests, there's a psychology to taking tests. And it's really cute because I live by a college in a rather large home. And so I don't like being alone. So I rent to college students and it's super fun. So I got 2 guys moving in this weekend. So I have a soccer player, a basketball player, and a business major. And they're like, oh my God, you teach how to pass tests? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, this is gonna be so easy. Just pay attention to the things I tell you and it will really, really help you. Bright yellow is number 1. I'm just gonna give you some of the things right now so you can think about it. Number 2, not always, but about 80% or more of the time, when you see an answer that's the longest answer, it's the right answer. And the reason the longest answer is usually the right answer is because the longest answer, it takes more words for me to explain in an answer, the correct answer, than it does for me to explain the wrong answer. And you have to think about the psychology of people that are making the test, the teachers. Okay, now think about this. Why would I let A be right? Because if I come up with this really great question, and then I come up with a really great answer, and I give it to you on A, all the B, C, and D answers, I just wasted my time making up the answers because you just read the question and you took A, right? So A is not a very popular answer. Now to think about the longest answer. Let's say you have 2 answers that are the longest answer. Okay, well, if one of the longest answers is C, it's most likely C because C is the most popular answer. So A is the least popular, C is the most popular, and if you have 2 long answers, look at C and take it the most seriously. And the reason you're doing all this stuff is because it makes it easier to take the test, okay? I passed this test, I think it took me 45 minutes, and you get like 3 hours, and I don't even feel like I knew anything. Like I took the cram course here at Real Estate Trainers, that's how I started teaching here, and I'm like, hell, I could teach that. The guy who taught the class, this cram course used to just be chapter 1 done in 3 hours before lunch, which I take all day today. All we're doing is chapter 1 today, okay? And then after that, all he did was questions and answers. Okay, now, you guys got a link when you signed up for this class. Don't tell me you didn't. I get that all the time. I didn't get my link, I don't know where it's at. So you know what I did? I ask them to send me the link, see what you guys get when you get confirmed. Because if you're in the classroom or you have the link to the classroom, you have the link, okay? So I asked them, I go, send me the link, send me what you send the students, because I'm tired of these people telling me I didn't get it, but yet they're sitting in front of me. Like it goes like this. Tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but when you get the link for this class, there's a red link or it's like a pretty bold thing that says questions and answers. Yeah? Am I wrong? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. But right at the top of the link is this thing that says questions and answers. You guys, that's your questions and answers to study. It's like something like 16 or 17 tests, okay? Those are super important to you passing this exam. They are actual test questions. I'm not supposed to say that. I'm sorry, they're not. But I can tell you right now, I've had students that they've taken this class once. All they did was study those questions and answers, and they passed. This is something, if you want this career, then you got to do it. It's not an easy test. I've been told that people that take this test say that it's like the Series 7 test. So it's not that easy. Okay, so it takes common sense. It takes knowing the material. That's why they made the test hard. They want you to know the material. You know, it seems like people go, oh, I'm just going to be a loan officer. I'm going to do loans. It's not that big of a deal. You guys, you're dealing with somebody's most important investment in their life. You're telling them about a loan that's going to cost them, if they're getting a loan for $500,000, it's going to cost them probably $490,000 in interest. So you're talking about $1 million investment. This is something that's really important in their life. So it's not something to take lightly. So that's why they want you to know the material. I'm not going to lecture anymore. You guys know what you're going to be doing. So this class is for people who are going to help people with their residential home, 1 to 4 units. Okay, anything over 4 is commercial. So once you hit 5, okay. For the purpose of the test, there is one loophole. I mean, it's not on the test, but for the purpose of the real world, I'll just throw it out there real quick. If you have 5 units and you're in Long Beach, and it's zoned 4 and it has a 5th unit, it's a bomb shelter. So yeah, you can do it on 1 to 4, okay? But not on the test. So let's do this, all right? So like I said, you guys, if you're not muted, mute yourself so everybody can hear. Can you guys all hear me good? Okay, maybe not. You can tell me, you can go like this. I know. Yeah, cool. All right. As long as you can hear me, that's cool. If you can't hear me, it's because the other people aren't muted and you can tell on each other, because I've seen in chats, you guys can chat to each other. I've seen in chats where they go, hey, John isn't muted, we can't hear, whatever, okay? So everybody should be muted unless you're gonna ask a question, all right? Good to go? All right.